Hello, welcome to our weekly roundup of what is happening at Dog Podcast Network. And the quick answer is a lot. We are going to be teasing a new show that you will be able to listen to next week called Hound Headlines. It's something that we've been working on. We've played through different iterations, and you are going to be given the opportunity to give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down, because we're doing a pilot thing. We're getting very Hollywood about this. And this is going to be a 3-month experiment where we, Claire and I, are going to be doing the headlines, things that you may not have heard, but are probably interested in, as they are news stories about dogs. And hopefully it'll be fun and a whole new thing. That's coming next week. But today we want to tell you about what we have on Dog Podcast Network.
So the new episode of Dog Edition, which dropped on Tuesday, I had to try and think what day of the week it was. It's Thursday, isn't it?
It is it's like the year is already like, feeling like we're fully into it, right?
So our new episode is So You Want to Be a Breeder. And I have to admit to a little bit of sort of self-interest in producing this episode, because I have a currently unneutered female young dog. And, every now and again, you kind of look at her and go, oh, it'd be cute to have puppies. It really would be.
Puppies,
Yeah, little maples.
maple pies.
Yeah. And I wanted to know what goes into having a litter of puppies. And wow, a lot goes into having a litter of puppies, and all the research that goes on by breeders. And this is also really interesting because it explains why you pay what you do pay for a puppy, because the work that goes into it by good breeders is fantastic. And so we talk about that. We talk about, whether there's any money in it, if you're thinking of going into it as a business, and what the reality is like when you suddenly have 8, 9, how many puppies in the house? Lots.
Little mouths to feed, and then they don't necessarily honor a schedule, the traditional schedule. Yes. And how does it impinge on the rest of the family and work and all those things? It's a really good episode. And so after producing this and doing the research, have you decided that your new gig is to be a dog breeder?
No. Definitely not. And in fact, I mentioned in that episode that one of my fears about breeding dogs is that you might be left with like spare puppies. And so suddenly you start with one and you can't sell some of them, and suddenly you have 4 dogs in the house. Yeah. And we talked to somebody who has experience of that, and literally last week I met somebody who has had some puppies and can't find homes for them, and now has 16-week-old puppies and has 4 of them. So yeah, it does happen. So that's always been my greatest fear. You think, oh, well, I'll probably only have like 6 dogs and I've got 6 people lined up, it'll all be fine. And then something happens. So yeah. So I was also just going to quickly mention the long leash, which dropped last week. Mm-hmm. If you saw this live last week, you'll already know this, but just a quick mention that it is about the future of at-home vet testing. And that's quite interesting, about the things that we can do and will be able to do in the future to find out more about our dog's health. And talking of which,
on our another show from Dog Podcast Network, Dog Cancer Answers, we tell you the story of Buddy, who had hemangiosarcoma. And this is what we occasionally do on Dog Cancer Answer. It's a true tale, because sometimes when you're dealing with cancer, you want to not just get all the science and the stuff from vets, but you want to hear from other people. And that's what this episode of Dog Cancer Answers is. It is a success story, because there are many success stories from people who listen to Dog Cancer Answers because of the information and advice and the community that is fostered over there at that show. And this is a really good story of Buddy and how he, let's just say, check it out. If you have ever had a dog with hemangiosarcoma, which is a type of a blood cancer, it's and spleen, and it's a really good episode. You can find that at dogcanceranswers.com.
Now, Hound Headlines. We were mentioning that we're going to turn this into a show as of next week.
Right.
But let's touch on some of the stories which are in the papers this week. And one of them is quite interesting that I spotted here in the UK is that there have been a number of sort of dog bite stories in the papers, where dogs, they reckon that the number of dog bite incidents is up in the UK. And of course, this is very hard to actually get a true figure for, because of course, most dogs bite somebody who they know, the owner or whatever, and the owner doesn't want to report it in case the dog gets destroyed. So you never get an accurate figure. But they reckon part of the problem for why there have been these more dog bites is TikTok. Because TikTok is to blame for everything.
Everything. I mean, it's that nasty Chinese. How is TikTok responsible for an increase in dog bites in the UK?
Well, I mean, it's that old thing of kind of chasing content and apparently dog content's really popular, Jim. So there's a lot of unqualified.
Should be a podcast network about dogs.
Yeah, there's a lot of unqualified dog trainers on TikTok who are just giving out rubbish information, and they take videos and it just sends people off down the wrong path. And somebody was saying that a sort of behaviorist was saying that they've seen a lot of these videos and the dogs look very stressed in them, so obviously it's not the right kind of behavioral influence that should be out there, and perhaps this is leading to more dog bites. So it's interesting. I mean, any subjects that's talked about on social media, it's going to be...
There are people who are giving medical advice on TikTok who are not qualified. Nutrition.
Yeah.
To be an influencer, it requires very different skill sets than being an expert and a professional, which is kind of the role of what journalism used to provide. Is there'd be some vetting process to determine if the person that you're getting the information from is truly knowledgeable about it, or if they figured out the TikTok algorithm. That's really interesting and kind of sad, and I think emblematic of the type of problems that some of the social media can further engender, because it's like, oh my gosh, anyone can be an expert on anything.
Yeah, and if somebody said to you, "Oh, the dangers of TikTok," that is not the first thing that would come to mind, is it? The idea of getting bad training advice for your dog. But yeah, there's some real harm being done there. Now, one dog who has escaped from bad training advice, or at least we hope they have, is a dog which is about to turn... Well, hang on. In fact, I'll let you guess. Okay, so it's been certified as the world's oldest dog.
Unfortunately, I know the answer. So it's not going to be much. I'm going to guess, I don't know, 31 years old?
Oh, you could have played along, because, I think, how old was that Australian cattle dog? He was only 20 or something. And this one is nearly 31.
31 years old. Tell us the story of this very old dog, Claire.
So it's a Portuguese farm dog called Bobby. And this has been certified by the Guinness Book of Records. So this is, I was a bit cynical when I saw this, and I was like, oh, yeah, really? How do we know this dog is really this old? But obviously they have investigated it. He's 30 years and 267 days old. And so
he's well on his way to 32.
Yeah. No, 30 and 267. Okay. So he's on his way to 31. Okay. Not quite there yet. And he when I read this description, I thought, I think he has quite a similar life to Jim, really, because it says in here, family members believe the secret of his longevity is the fact that he has always lived in the countryside in a peaceful environment surrounded by nature.
If only that were the case. Yes. It sounds idyllic, but Hawaii isn't necessarily that everywhere.
Oh, don't shatter the illusion, because that's how I imagine it.
It is an illusion. Yes, it is an illusion. Waterfalls and flowers.
Yeah, is it not like that?
It can be, but it can also not always be that.
I mean, I just assumed you have a shower under a waterfall every morning when you get out of bed. Is that not the case?
Absolutely. We just when I just that's what we do. What, do you have indoor plumbing there?
No, yeah.
we just shower under a waterfall.
Yeah.
It's perfect temperature too. So That's really interesting. 31 years old. What do they
Mhm.
attribute his longevity to other than, living in the country?
Well, something that you will approve of, because I know this is a bit of a passion of yours, but he doesn't actually eat dog food, doesn't eat, commercial dog food. He has had the same food as his owners, and they said that they rinse it off so it hasn't got any sort of spices and herbs and stuff in it. But yeah, there does seem to be something in that, doesn't there?
There is this morning, Chloe, the dog that we are fostering, got some leftover lamb roast, and I had to
Mm.
wash off the coffee grounds and the rosemary and all that. It was a lovely thing from
Did you use the waterfall?
we used the waterfall. It was perfect. We used the waterfall, and then the fairies came around and blessed it. So yeah, that was breakfast with some cauliflower and broccoli. And yeah, I'm a and Everpup, of course. Everpup is one of the sponsors of Dog Podcast Network, and a little Everpup on top, to round out the vitamins and minerals and vitamins and all the things that a dog needs. And that's what my dogs eat, and I've just noticed that it really makes a difference. So this is a dog that
Mm.
we had, that we're fostering. I know
Mhm.
everyone thinks we're foster
Mm.
failing. We don't know that we're fostering. And then we just noticing how much different this dog is now than when
Mhm.
she came with literally a box of kibble.
Mm.
Dog food is an interesting thing, and clearly there's some connection between longevity and eating a good diet. We know that. We know that
Yeah.
in humans. We know that in dogs as well. So I'm
Yeah,
glad to
it's
hear that was
fascinating.
that's how you can get your dog to live an old and it's a quality life that this dog.
Mm. Oh, he's running around on a farm and eating the same food as his owners. I mean, that sounds amazing.
Is he still spry?
Well, I saw some pictures actually. Bless him, he does look like an old dog. He looks a little bit blind and a bit, but he's fine.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
he's
if
having
if we use the rule of thumb of 7 years, he'd be over 200 years old. He would be. So,
well, keep
at 200, it's okay.
keep showering under the waterfall, Jim, it's it's fountain of youth.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discovering and looking for headlines like this from newspapers and media sites around the
Yep.
world, and our intrepid team of journalists who work with Dog Podcast Network all over the world. And we're going to be bringing that to you initially every other week. You'll be able to hear it on the Dog Edition um, uh,
Feed.
feed.
Yes.
I'm trying to get not too sophisticated by calling it the
Yeah.
RSS, but
Don't
the
just
feed. So just subscribe to Dog Edition, and you will
yeah.
hear Hound headlines. And if you are a fan or a friend, or if you've never even heard of us before but are listening for the first time and check out the show, let us know what you think, because we are always looking to make shows that are appealing to you, and hopefully you will find you'll find Hound headlines to be appealing.
So we could call it like a spin-off show, because it's got the same cast members, slightly different storyline. It's like a spin-off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. We're really trying to get Hollywood here.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, do you know what weird thing is going to happen on Saturday? And genuinely, you don't know what this is. I'm about to surprise you with this.
What is happening on Saturday? We
Well,
were live. We're unprepared. What?
yeah, there's it's like going to be a weird planetary alignment for me, because what people don't realize is that I'm married to a Jim, as well as co-hosting with a Jim, and my Jim is going to Hawaii on Saturday. So my two Jims are going to be exactly.
But he's going to be.
But he's
Is he
not going to be
going
on
to come over?
Maui.
He's
He's
going to
going to
be
be
on
on
Oahu.
another island. Oh, what?
On
Yeah,
Oahu.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're both going to be in the same time zone for like a short period of time, which is really weird. Yeah.
We should, maybe we can get together. I don't know. I know he's here on work. Yeah.
Yeah. You just hop on a helicopter.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe use the same waterfall.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Actually, it is beautiful here. We just got so much rain, and rain is kind of unusual, at least in the part of the island that I live in. But we've had so much rain, and everything is green and lush, and the waterfalls really are running, and it really is very beautiful. And
Just like England in February. Just the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting warmer here, though. We are getting out of the very cold. Unlike in Canada, where I was this time last year. So it's the spring is definitely here.
That's good. I'm looking forward to. Still, God willing, I'm looking forward to seeing you in May and for a month or so of different travels in Europe, but starting right there in London.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, so we will see everybody next Thursday.
For our live, and before then, hopefully you will tune in to the initial launch of Hound Headlines on Tuesday. You can find that on dogedition.com. You can find all of our shows at shows.dogpodcastnetwork.com. I want to thank those of you who are joining us live and sending comments like Danielle. I appreciate that you join us live and are commenting, and please stay tuned for more stuff from Dog Podcast Network. I'm James Jacobson.
I'm Claire Mansell.